Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of the Noble Character Crafts podcast. My name is Amy, and you can find me online at Noble Character Crafts on Instagram and Etsy, and you can find me on Ravelry at NobleCharacter. I also have a group for this podcast on Ravelry under Noble Character Crafts podcast, so please feel free to join in that group. Thank you so much for joining me. Today is Monday, October 9th, 2017, and I am coming to you from eastern Nebraska. I live on a farm with my husband and our 5 children, and I homeschool them, and when they are napping, I craft. So thank you again so much for joining me. If you are by chance joining me after having viewed some of my previous podcasts, you may be wondering why I am starting back at episode 1. Well, I did do some podcasts earlier in the year, in the summer, but I took a reprieve from podcasting and just decided to start podcasting again. And I was going to try to go back and find the old footage and re-upload it, but I lost some of it, and I thought that would be more trouble than what I wanted to take on. So I thought I'm just going to start over and start at episode 1. So I hope you don't mind that. I'm sure that doesn't bother anybody. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you do happen to be a returning viewer from previously, thank you so much for joining me again. And if you are a new viewer, welcome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate anybody that takes the time to join me. So I have today a cup of tea. I have my favorite tea is called Nighty Night, which is kind of silly because it's not nighttime. I drink it all the time. It's just my favorite. It's by Traditional Medicinals, and it's an herbal tea. And I think the main thing that it is passion flower. There's also chamomile, linden flower, catnip herb, organic hop strobile, spearmint leaf, lemon, verbena leaf, lemon peel. Anyway, it's yummy. I love it. And it's caffeine free, so that's nice too, obviously, since it's a nighttime tea. Oh, and it's in my cup from Frankfurt, Germany, which I've actually spent some time in Frankfurt, Germany. But only in the airport. A couple of times when I traveled overseas, I had layovers in Frankfurt. One of them was an 8-hour layover, so that was a significant amount of time that it would have been nice if we would have left the airport. I went with a group of college students. It would have been nice if we had left the airport and actually seen the city, but no, I've never seen Frankfurt. I've only been in the airport. And this actually, I didn't buy this when I was at the airport or anything. I lived with my stepsister for a while when I was younger, and before I got married, and she had this cup randomly. I think I don't know how she acquired it. She's never been to Frankfurt, Germany. Anyway, I had a cup that she really liked, and I wanted this since I actually hadn't been to Frankfurt, even though, like I said, hadn't visited really. Anyway, so we traded. But I've had it a long time now, so anyway. Okay. So, I'm sorry, this is a podcast. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. This is a podcast about my life as a knitter, a crocheter, and a hand dyer of yarn. So, let's see. I'm going to start off with some finished items. So this is the first one that I finished pretty recently. Not too recently, but kind of recently. This is a sweater for my second youngest son. He just turned 5 recently. And this pattern is the Wyatt by Michelle Wong, though I did not do the textured stitching in the body or the sleeves like the pattern calls for. I just did stockinette. I made this using Wool of the Andes in the, I forget what colorway. I'll try to put it on the screen. It's a heather colorway, grizzly heather, I believe. Okay, see that line right there? When I started this project, I learned how to Norwegian purl, which was really, really helpful for doing the ribbing, and I still love doing Norwegian purling for ribbing, but it's obviously quite noticeable when I do a full line of purling. So that's what that line right there is from a line of purling, because at that point, that's when you start working back and forth instead of in the round. And my Norwegian purling is quite a bit looser, obviously. I blocked it, and I was hoping that that would come out when I blocked it, but obviously it didn't. So, I don't know, I'm hoping it won't be too terrible. I also thought it might be kind of cute to just run a contrasting thread through that line to make it look like it was more on purpose. I don't know. I actually ripped back because I noticed that I had gone a couple of rows where it was having lines where every other row was purled and it was making a striped. And so I ripped back, but I didn't go back far enough, and I didn't want to rip back again. So I was just like, oh, it's just one line. I guess it'll be okay. Anyway, this project is kind of a disappointment though, because the fit is a little strange on my son. I got gauge. Although I am a pretty new knitter. I've just been knitting since January of this year, so it's October, so, you know, less than 10 months really, because around 10 months I've been knitting. Anyway, so I got gauge, but the body of the sweater is really narrow, and also the sleeves, they're just really snug, but the length, especially in the sleeves on my little guy, is way too long. Like, I'll have to roll these sleeves up, which is fun. But, and also the wool, my boy can't stand it. I've tried it on him several times. He's like, Mom, take it off, take it off. So I'm thinking if I put a turtleneck underneath it, maybe he'll be able to bear it. You know, he had a t-shirt on when he tried, but it still was really bothering him with this neck, which I guess I can kind of see that, you know, this is a woolly wool. It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. So I kind of thought that might be a problem when I started making it, but I was hoping it wouldn't be, but it is. But hopefully I can put a turtleneck under it, and then that won't be right up against his skin, is what I'm hoping. So I have a goal, which is looking very unachievable lately, to try to knit a sweater for each of my children. I made a sweater for what I was hoping to be for my oldest son, and it turned out too small, but it fits my daughter. So I have one for her. It's a little bit different design. It's just a crew neck instead of the Henley neck. And then I've made this one for my second youngest. And I'll show you in my whips. I've got another one on the go, but then I still have 2 more to do, and I was hoping to get them done before like November. And yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen for sure. Okay, the next finished object that I have are these owl mitts. And these owl mitts and I have a very long history. I have an Etsy shop, like I mentioned, and prior to, from 2016 and prior, I always sold crocheted items because I've been a crocheter for like 18 years or something like that. And so I had these mitts. I've had these mitts in my shop for several years, and they've always been very popular. And so I make these. I've made hundreds probably of these. And I continue to make them because they're still very popular, and I sell quite a few of them. So this is a free pattern that can be found on Ravelry. It's by Erica Ward, and it's just called Owl Mitts. And this is made using worsted weight. I love this yarn. I don't know the colorway name. It's just an ivory color with flecks in it. And anyway, it's a super simple crocheted pattern using a G-hook. And I can make these within less than an hour. It takes me like 40 minutes probably to make a pair of these. So I try to make 1 pair a day. so that I can build up my inventory, especially because the fall and winter is when they sell. So anyway, I won't show you these every week because they're like a constant work in progress. Just I'm always making them. There's a whole pile of them right here. I just make a pair every day. And so that's just kind of a constant thing that I'm always working on. Okay, I have a half object. My sock. So this is the Rhinebeck is Calling sock pattern by Kay Litton, who is of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast and Crazy Sock Lady Designs. And this is made using my hand-dyed yarn in the Dignity colorway. This is on my Pitter Patter base, which is a 75 superwash merino, 25% wool, fingering weight, of course. And I use size 1 needles, US 1 2.25 millimeter. I did a 20 row 2x2 ribbing. I'm making the large size, which is 72 stitches. This is probably going to be, the next time that I make a pair of socks, I'm probably going to go down in my stitch count. I do have large feet, but I would like them a little bit tighter. And I'm just learning. This is my third pair of socks for myself that I have made. And now that I've had a chance to wear the first 2 pairs that I've worn, they fit, but I would like them a little bit snugger. So I think I'll try probably to go down to a 68 stitch count to start with and see how that goes. Anyway, this is a really nice textured pattern. It's just a 4-row repeat. It did take me a little while to memorize it, but again, I'm new, so I'm not as comfortable. I'm more prone to look at the pattern for a while before I'm like, oh no, I got it. Anyway, this was my first time doing a heel flap and gusset. So I'm really, this is the second time that I've tried to do a heel flap and gusset. The first time, I don't think I counted my rows right, and my heel flap was like way down there on a different pair of socks that I made. Anyway, so I tried it again and I got it. The fit is wonderful, and I'm really happy that I was able to figure that out. And then I just followed the pattern completely for what Kay did in her pattern. I followed the pattern for the toe and everything just as she had it written. So this is super fun. Then I did start the second sock. So this is in my pretty bowl that my friend gave me. It's a bowl that's from Turkey, and I used to live in Turkey, so it's kind of fun that the bowl is from Turkey. Anyway, it works well as a yarn bowl because this is just hand wound into a ball. And I just finished the ribbing. So you can see my cute little progress keeper. This is from Little Bitty Delights shop. She has an Etsy shop, and you can also find her on Instagram at Little Bitty Delights shop. And it's a cute little brownie a la mode with a cherry on top. Isn't that adorable? Really, really lightweight. It doesn't pull on the stitches at all. And I'm using my ChowGoo red lace 40-inch, which I could go down to a shorter cable, but these are size 1. I think I mentioned that, 2.25. Yeah, so I just finished the ribbing, and I'm ready to start the body of the leg. So Kay is hosting a cal for this sock pattern on her through her podcast, and it ends on October 31st. So I'm really hoping that I'll get this done in time. I should be able to. I'm really going to try to focus on getting that done soon so that I can enter it in time. So, okay. So the next whip I have, on to whips, obviously. This is in my My Creative Frenzy is where this bag is from. She has an Etsy shop, and I love her bag so much. The quality of her quilting is just, well, I'm not a quilter by any means, so I just really, really admire her work. The main body is a linen fabric, and then on the inside it's just a solid pink. And I have another sock on the go here. So this is just a plain vanilla sock, and I actually am also using my Dignity colorway for the cuff on this one, and the heel and the toe I plan to do as well. And then the main body of the sock is made in my Love colorway, which I think is my favorite. If I had to pick one of my colorways, I think this is my favorite. So it's just a, it's got purples and pinks and blues mainly. And this is also on my Pitter Patter base, the 7525. I am using my 9-inch Chow Goose, size 1, 2.25 millimeter. And I don't love the 9-inch circulars, but I really wanted to give them another try. I had tried them earlier and had to put them down because I couldn't stand using them. But they're a little bit easier the more that I use them, and so I kind of want to just keep trying to use them. And it's nice that you can just keep going round and round and you don't have to mess with the cord at all, so I do like that. I'm going to make these quite a bit longer, I think, in the leg before I do the heel. I'm a pretty tall lady. I'm 5'10", and so, you know, my pants are always, a lot of times my pants aren't long enough. So it'd be nice to be able to pull up my socks over my, a lot of times I'm wearing leggings, and just be nice to pull them up a little bit higher. So anyway, I do have a mistake that I found where I somehow picked up a yarn over or something like that, but I'm trying to ignore it, and then when I get to the heel I might do a knit two together stitch so that I'll go back to the normal count that I'm supposed to be at. So anyway, try to ignore my mistakes as much as possible. Okay, and my next WIP is this sweater that I had mentioned. This is in just a handmade bag that I had made using one of my daughter's old dresses that she grew out of, and it had a few holes in it, and so I just sewed up the bottom, and it's just a silly bag. It's nothing fancy by any means, but it's huge, so it's good for sweaters. Okay, since the wool was not a great option for my boy, I decided to just use some stash yarn that I had that I don't have to worry about, you know, making another sweater and it being a waste because it doesn't fit right, or they can't stand the feel of it or whatever, you know. So this, I'm safe, they won't be bothered by this because it's just acrylic. So this is Lion Brand Heartland in the Joshua Tree colorway, which I love that color green. It's really a nice color. And I thought, well, I'm just going to try to make this sweater in this to see if I actually, you know, if it actually works out. So I'm just making the white again, like I had shown you earlier by Michelle Wong. Again, I'm just doing a stockinette stitch instead of the pattern that she called for. And this is for, I'm planning to have this be for my second oldest son. He is 7, almost 8. Since the previous one that I made was a little bit too small, according to the age that it was meant to be for, I went up to the size 10 for him, just because I wanted to make sure it was roomy enough to wear shirts underneath and so forth. So I'm just finished with the body section for now. It's now just ready to go on hold, and then I'm going to start the sleeves. So I am using Chow Gu red lace. These are from my interchangeable set, and this is on size 8. I think I also went up a needle size. The pattern, I believe, calls for, I don't have it handy, but I believe it calls for a size 7 for the body of the sweater, and I went up to a size 8 just to give me a little bit more room in the body. So I'm hoping, I think this will be really good for him. So what else do I want to say about this? I can't think of anything. Seems like this project took me forever so far. Well, I'm just kind of getting bored with it. And this is what the project that I've been working on while I am doing schooling with the kids, because it's easy enough that I can knit and read to them a lot while I'm knitting. That's a lot of our schoolwork, is I read a lot to them out loud. And so I've been working on this project while we do schoolwork primarily. So, you know, though I can work on it while I'm doing schoolwork, I don't get a ton of work done on it during schoolwork time, obviously, because I'm busy helping them with lots of things. So anyway, I'm ready to start the sleeves, but like I said, I'm definitely not going to be meeting my goal for that. My next whip is my last whip, actually. Well, yeah, my last knitted whip is work in progress. Is this shawl? This is the Elena Half by Lavish Designs, I think is how you say it. I'm not 100% sure. But I am using my hand-dyed yarn again for this. And this is in my Lenora base, which is a worsted weight, 100% superwash merino. And I have been wanting to use up some of my worsted weight yarn that I had in my stash. The majority of this is my own hand-dyed yarn, but there's one that I'll show you in a minute, one skein that I'm using that is not mine, and I really wanted to use it because I love it. Okay, so anyway, the pattern for this calls for only 3 colors. I am using 5 colors. So this color up here is on my Joy colorway. It's speckled with blue, purple, and pink. And then this little stripe and this bottom part right here is on a one of a kind that I did. It's an indigo color, and I don't have it named because I never put it in my shop. I just am using it obviously for myself. So it's this. It's a very pretty color, and I think I could replicate it, but I haven't tried yet. Anyway, oh, and I should show you in the cakes. So this is the Joy in the cake. There's quite a glare, sorry, but there you can kind of see it. And then the next, so the reason why I'm using 5 colors is because I had quite a few of just one skein dyed up on my worsted weight, and so I liked how these went together. So anyway, this seafoam green color with navy specks is my Cool Spirit colorway. And then the pinkish, and it also has some indigo swirled in there, is a Pleasant colorway. So I am on the applied border, this is the first time I have done an applied border. And like I said, I'm using 5 skeins. So the pattern calls for you to, you do this whole triangle section, and then you start working the applied border along the edge. And you're supposed to go down quite a bit further, like about twice as thick as that for the applied border. But I'm using my 5th colorway for that extra section. And so I'm having to knit that separately, and then I think I'll just stitch it on. So that is here. This is the one colorway that I've had for a while that I really wanted to use up. This is an Allison Barnes collection colorway called Prairie Mosaic, and I won this on a giveaway on Instagram. So I've been hoarding it. Boy, I wonder how long ago I won that. I bet it's been about a year ago that I won that. And I had started trying to put this border, like knit it together with the indigo color, but it was getting a little bit too fiddly, and I hadn't thought through this, but with the applied border, I was hoping that I could just knit both of them and it would work out, but they weren't connected at all. I was knitting the indigo color, and then I was knitting the Prairie Mosaic color, and they were just 2 separate pieces. They would have had to be sewn together anyway. So I took that off and just put it on a extra needle that I had. But anyway, this is the end of this will be what the bottom of the shawl looks like. It's really hard for me to tell which one is the right side. I think it's this side. So that will go on under here. Can you kind of tell? It's kind of hard to tell, but you'll see as I progress, I guess, how that goes. But I'm really excited to have this shawl. Purple is my favorite color, and I think I'll be able to use this a lot. And it's so snuggly since it's in the worsted weight. It's really, really cozy. So I'm excited for that. Okay. I have another work in progress that I just started, a new craft that I'm just taking on. I've started weaving. So I'm a super beginner. I went onto YouTube and just searched beginning weaving tutorials, and I came across Creative Bug Studios, and they had a tutorial series going over weaving and how to make a simple weaving. So they used a canvas, painting the frame from a canvas piece. But I didn't have one of those handy. I just had this old picture frame that I found upstairs in our attic. And so you just nail nails along the top and the bottom every 1/4 of an inch, and then run the yarn up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And then you can start weaving. So, and then this is just a paint stick, one of those huge paint sticks that you can get if you're like getting a 5-gallon bucket of paint. So I had that handy, and it was the perfect size. So that is slid in there every, weaving through the 2 threads to make, I forget the name of that. That's called something. I don't remember now, the weaving term for that space. But anyway, that just helps you weave through the different strands going one way. It only works going one way. Okay, so anyway, I started at the bottom with I think 12 rows of just plain white weaving, and that's just to be like a base for the work. And then I put on this trim, and I'm just using tons of scrap yarn. Again, I like to use just yarn that I'm not too concerned about for projects that I'm not sure how they're going to turn out. But I think I'll be happy with this. It'll be a kind of trial and error, I guess. Anyway, so I meant to have the tassel or the fringe be all one length, but I ran out of this yarn. So I had to start shortening them, and I thought, okay, I'll just make it look like it's purposeful by making it kind of a stair-step effect. And then I've just started weaving in this black yarn now, and this is all worsted weight yarn, which was recommended on the tutorial, so that she just recommended that, so that's what I used. Anyway, my idea is to make kind of like rolling hills, maybe. We'll see if I can make that work. That's kind of the land that we have around here, is lots of rolling hills, and so I thought that would be kind of fun to try to do something along those lines as well. The kids actually helped me with this a little bit, with the putting on the fringe, and then today during schoolwork I like to do crafts with my kids, paper crafts, or last couple of weeks we made an American flag using a huge piece of paper and measuring out all the lines and everything. So I like to do something really tactile with them for a part of our school day. So anyway, we worked on this for a little bit this morning. It was difficult for them to weave it in and out going the one way, but then when you can use this piece to go the other way, that was super simple because you just slip the needle underneath all of those. So anyway, I will keep working on that, and we'll see how it turns out. I looked up some other tutorials about weaving, because I'd really like to, make blankets and stuff, but of course you need like a huge fancy loom for that, and I thought, well, I'll just start small and work my way up if I end up loving it. So we will see. Okay, I'm going to move on to some new things that I've gotten recently. This I just got, and I'm so excited about it. This is a stamp that I got from Sayabelle Stamps, and it has my logo on it. And I am using this for my shop to hand stamp these canvas drawstring bags with my logo on it. And I will, starting now, I am going to be putting, whenever somebody orders yarn from my shop, they will be mailed in a pouch. So I have 2 different sizes right now. This one can hold 3 skeins, this one can hold 1 or 2. And I may go up to even larger ones if needed, but for right now I just have these 2 sizes. So I'm super, super excited about these. It just makes me so happy to be able to send these out with a yarn order. So, and this stamp, well, when I ordered it, I ordered the wrong thing. I ordered it unmounted. I don't know why. I thought that was what I wanted. I meant to just order one without the handle. I just, there's an option to put a handle right here. Well, I wanted it like this, but I chose the wrong thing and I got it and I was like, then it finally clicked. I'm like, oh, you got it unmounted. It is unmounted. So I had to send it back and ask them, which they were awesome to work with. The company has been great to work with. And they fixed it, no problem. I had even already dirtied up the back because I had tried to use it unmounted, but of course it didn't work. Anyway, they said, no problem, it's fine. You can send it back. And they fixed it and sent it right back to me very quickly. So that was awesome. Okay, I've also gotten a few books lately that I wanted to share with you. So I got a day out on Saturday, which was super nice. Like I said, I stay home with the kids all the time. So after, usually at the end of a week, I'm like, oh, I just need a break. Just let me go out for a few hours and have some alone time. So anyway, I got to go out on Saturday and I went to a new to me yarn shop not nearby, but in the town that's nearest to us. And I picked up this book, Interpretations Volume 3, and it is by Joji Locatelli and Vera Valimaki. And I think there's 4 volumes out now, but I really liked this one in particular because a few of the patterns in here I have already had in my favorites on Ravelry. So I thought, hey, perfect. I'll just get this and then I'll have these patterns already. I mean, there's so many patterns in here that I love. I love this one, My Everything. Is that the name of the pattern? I think so. My Everything? Yeah, I think that's the name of the pattern. I really like this one. There's so many in here that I love. Tidal Ground. That would almost be like a coat, in the fall. You could wear that just like as a coat. Yeah, I love this one, Heartfelt. There's a better picture here. I love that. I love that one. There's so many in here that I'm like, yep, I want that one, I want that one. Oh, this one I've had saved for quite a while. The Henley, Timeless Henley. That one's by Joji Locatelli. See, I'm like every single one. Breathing Space, that's awesome. I know there's another one in here that I'm like really wanting. Let Go. I know. I like everyone. What was that other one? Oh yeah, that one's too. Well, anyway, it's a really good book. I love these. It's well worth it. It's well worth the money spent because of and I think that I am more prone to knit something from a book than from something that I find on Ravelry, just because I already have it. It's already printed out. It's already in a great format. I don't know. I just think it's more usable for me. I also ordered this book from Knit Picks, Wood Smoke. It's a cable collection, and I don't have any cable projects on the go right now, but I really love doing cables. So this one again, well here I can just show you on the back. I think this is going to be my first project from this book. I forget what that one's called though. Again, this one, there's several patterns in here that I will definitely make at some point. It's called the Lissy Casey sweater. Isn't that pretty? And I really also love this shawl. Where'd it go? There it is. Absent Friends shawl. And this one, the Laura shawl. Oh, that looks so cozy. I want that now. So I love that book too. And then I also recently got this knitted cable source book by Nora Gone. And if you haven't heard of this, it's just a really neat source, well, like I said, source book for different cable patterns. And then there's quite a few patterns, like actual patterns for garments and hats and things in here as well. I love this flared pullover. So pretty. There's so many amazing projects in here. Well, I actually don't know how many patterns there are. Does it say? There's, I would guess about a dozen patterns if I had to guess, but anyway, this is a great book as well. So, super excited about those books. Okay. While I was out on Saturday, I also, at the local yarn store, I picked up a skein of Malabrigo on the sock base, 440 yards, in the Archangel colorway. Oh, isn't that glorious? I think it's so amazing. So it's got deep purples and rust and orange and reddish, like a cranberry red color. Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. I'm not sure what this is 100% superwash merino. So I think I'll probably use it in a shawl, would be my guess. So, but I just loved it so much I had to have it. Okay, oh, and then also from Knit Picks, when I got that wood smoke, I also grabbed Felici, because they were having a sale on their Felici. So I just got one of every colorway that they had this year. So I don't need to go through all of them. You've probably seen most of them if you watch other podcasts. So anyway, I just got one of each just to try them out and make socks for my kids, or probably, well, if I use heels, cuffs, and toes with a contrasting color, I think I can get a pair of socks for myself out of one skein. Okay, here is some more project bags that I got from my Creative Frenzy. So this one that I showed you is from her. And then I also, here's her card. Lori Springer is her name. And again, her shop is on Etsy, My Creative Frenzy. I'm kind of a little bit like, I don't really want to share this because she doesn't have a lot of project bags and I love them so much. I'm just kidding. Well, kind of, you know. Okay, so anyway, I just want to show you some of these new project bags I've got, and I haven't even put them into use yet, but here's the first one. Isn't that so cute? Little Red Riding Hood with the wolf on the other side. Isn't it adorable? And that quilting, she does such great work. It's amazing. Again, these are all drawstring. And this one has some pretty pink flowers on the, well, pink with white flowers on the inside. And then I've got this one. Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness, I just love her work. It's so impeccable. I could never, you know, the fact that when you can't do a craft like this, I just appreciate it so much, because there's no way that I, at this point in my life, could ever make something like that. I mean, maybe if I got into quilting, I could figure it out, but right now it's like, no, that's not going to happen, and I just really love this work. So, and this one has just plain white on the inside. I love those colors. And then this one I think is my favorite. Oh, I just love it. I love it so much. So again, this has the linen like on the other one that I showed you. And then look at that quilting. I just love it so much. Looks like rolling hills, doesn't it? Again, rolling hills. And again, this just has white on the inside. But anyway, I just love these so much. I'm so happy with them, and I can't wait to put them to use. Oh, and then my last thing that I've bought recently is just, I went to the local thrift store in our town. One of them, there's quite a few actually. There's 3 in our little town. Anyway, I found this yarn. I love thrifting. Does anybody else love thrifting? This is a Kobasi yarn. So it is, the Ko stands for cotton, the Ba stands for bamboo, and this C stands for silk. So it's 55% cotton, 16% bamboo, 21% nylon, and 8% silk. So, and this is a fingering weight. Oh, that's funny. It's actually from, the person that bought it actually bought it from that yarn shop that I just went to recently. That's funny. But I got it for, I mean, it was originally $9.40, and I got it for like 50, I think, 50 cents. Quite a steal. And I weighed it, and there was less than 10 grams that had been used out of it. So it originally was 50 grams, so I think it was like 41 or 42 grams still. So that was pretty good. And it's like tonal blues. So I could use that for socks, couldn't I? I mean, it's got the nylon in it. They're not wool, but I could still use that for socks, couldn't I? I don't know. Comment below if you know if I can use that for socks. Would that work? I think it might. And then I also got this, which is a brand new hank, and it was $1. And it is antique 100% crochet cotton, plain finish, 500 yards. Did it say, I don't think it says what weight it is, but I'm pretty sure it's a fingering weight. It was originally $2.85, but it looks pretty old. Made in the USA. But I thought, you know, I could use that for something. I don't know what. I could probably even dye it. I'm not sure how to do that, but with cotton, I'm not sure how to dye cotton. If you have to do it differently, I'll have to research that. Anyway, I've never dyed cotton yet. But I thought that was a pretty good deal. Okay. So I just wanted to show you a few of my newer colorways that I've put in my shop. I am planning on casting on well, I've been anxiously waiting to, I want to finish that shawl that I showed you first before I start this project. But a friend of mine is having a baby girl, and I want to make her some things. So I wanted to make up a new colorway for the for that project. I want to make her I think I'm going to make her a baby bonnet to start. So anyway, this is a new colorway. I've named it Sweetness. All of my colorways are named after proverbs. So Noble Character Crafts is also from Proverbs 31, where it talks about the wife of noble character, and it says in there that she selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. So that's where my shop name came from originally, was from Proverbs 31, because I just thought it was fitting, because I was making things with my hands. And it also talks about how she was selling garments and things like that. So originally that's how my shop began. Anyway, it's still fitting as I'm now dyeing yarn. I started dyeing yarn in February, I believe. So it's, you know, still very fitting because I do select wool and I do work with eager hands. So anyway, I don't have my card with me, but each of the colorways is named out off of a proverb. So I went through the book of Proverbs and just wrote down different words that I liked from different proverbs, and then, you know, use those names to name my colorways. Does that make sense? So here it is this is on my Lenora base, the worsted weight, and this is on the Pitter Patter base. And then I dyed up this color. Actually, all 3 of these colors look really good together. Isn't that pretty? So girdly. So this deep raspberry color, I really think it is named, I just named it last night. Let's see if I can remember. This is called Gracious. And it is definitely not the color that I was going for. but I still love it. You know, it was kind of an accident, but I wrote down the formula so I can repeat it. And I really, really love it. But I was going for something darker, but I will keep trying. We'll keep trying that. But I wanted to keep it anyway as a colorway because I loved it so much. And then this one is called Tranquil, and it is a very, very, very light pink. Sometimes I think it almost looks white because it's so light, but you can tell kind of that it's pink. Sorry, it's really blowing it out, but it's just a semi-solid. Both of those were, so obviously. Anyway, so I think that would be such a pretty pairing or group, or it would make a pretty shawl or something like that. Wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay. So I think that's all I have to share. So just a little bit of chatter, I guess. So we just, like I said, do schoolwork. So we did schoolwork this morning, and I do schoolwork all year round. So we kind of just have our routine. We could do school in the morning, and then in the afternoon the kids rest. And so the older kids don't sleep usually. Sometimes they do, but I just have them rest. No, they need to be quiet for just a rest time. So I need that time, and they benefit from that time too, I think. So tonight I am going to Bible study. Our women's group at church is going through this Bible study. Ooh, can you see that? I don't think you can see that very well, can you? Oh, there you go. It is called Enjoying Jesus by the If group, is the group that made the book. So it's a really good book, or a really good study. I've actually gone through it already because I'm one of the leaders for the Bible study. So, but it's a really good study. I really enjoy it. Tonight we're talking about, let's see if I can figure this out, what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about meditation and study tonight, I believe. Yeah. So anyway, it's fun. Other than that, so it's October. My husband farms our land, and we should be harvesting very, very soon, but we have had so much rain lately. I think we had 8 inches of rain in the last week. So obviously you can't harvest when the fields are muddy. And then we're going to be getting more rain yet this week and this upcoming weekend. So I don't like it it's cozy to be inside when it's raining outside. I like that part. But the kids can't play outside as much when it's rainy and muddy. And then, of course, we need to get the fields picked before winter comes. So it's a little disheartening to have all this rain. But God's in charge, so we can't worry. Well, we can, but it doesn't do us any good. Right? So anyway, I think that's all I have to share today. But I thank you so much for joining me. Again, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And if you like this, I would really appreciate you liking, giving me a thumbs up on this video, and subscribing. I would really appreciate that as well if you would like to subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.